coming up on this episode of BWN.
We came into this knowing that it would be a theater for young audiences production, so having that in mind, it's a little different than doing something like Shakespeare or something for the college age level.
He came here on a visa, but it had expired after a year, and for 22 years after, he had been of not legal status.
So, come support your fellow students. That's what it's about. You show up for each other and you will learn something. You'll be glad you went.
Good morning. It's April 24th. Welcome back to BWN. I'm Kate Zelkowitz here with our last episode of BWN for the spring 2025 semester. Thanks for tuning in. This week, MCLA announced 3 travel courses for the spring 2026 semester. Selections include Tropical Ecology in the Bahamas, run by biology professor Anne Goodwin, an exploration of Ireland with Professor Anthony Daly, or an immersive experience in Brazil with Professor David Kupari. Interested students are invited to attend an information session this Monday, April 28th, from 5 to 6 p.m. in CSI Room 121, where further details will be provided. Thursday, April 24th, is MCLA's 23rd Undergraduate Research Conference, a place for students to share how they make an impact within their disciplines and communities. Field reporter Tony Basil has the story.
MCLA's 23rd Undergraduate Research Conference is happening this week, April 24th, and I am going to go talk to Professor Cleo Stearns to get the inside scoop on what the day is going to look like.
Hi, I'm Cleo Stearns. I am serving as Associate Chair of the Undergraduate Research Advisory Board, along with the Chair, which is Whitney Gecker, my friend and colleague in the Department of Social Work. The URC, the Undergraduate Research Conference, is kind of the pinnacle of our undergraduate research programs. It happens once a year, and it's a whole day of programming devoted to research that undergrads have engaged in. This year, we're also really focusing on it as just a time of coming together as a community to celebrate intellectual life on campus and to have some fun together supporting fellow students. It sounds corny, but my favorite part of planning it this year has really been just seeing what my colleagues in other departments are doing and what their students are capable of. I teach in education. I'm used to what my students are doing. My students do amazing stuff all the time, and I'm always impressed and excited by their work. But even though I might have friends who teach bio or political science or whatever, I'm not intimately involved in what's happening in their classes. And then I see these projects that folks are doing, and it's this might not be something I know anything about at all, but I'm wow, this is real stuff that MCLA students are doing. It makes me proud. It makes me proud of my students when I see their name on somebody else's roster, presenting something really exciting. It feels like it brings me in closer to my students. I think my favorite part of the day is usually the poster session. This year, I'm also really excited to see the travel special session because I have a couple students who went to South Africa with Professor Sandar, and everybody has talked about having amazing experiences, but I haven't had a chance to, obviously I haven't seen their full presentation, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. Yeah, I think the main thing I want to say to the student body is come to the URC because whether you're presenting or not, you will be amazed. You show up for each other and you will learn something. You'll be glad you.
Mount Greylock Regional School has been hosting 36 students and 3 teachers from St. Paul's School in La Cumbre, Argentina, as part of a 2-week exchange program that wraps up this week. The program, which began last year with Mount Greylock students visiting Argentina, aims to foster cultural connections and enhance language learning. Spanish teacher Shannon Vigent described the exchange as a valuable experience that'll last a lifetime. Mount Greylock teachers say they plan to continue the exchange with La Cumbre every 2 years and emphasized the importance of cultural understanding and lasting friendships formed through the program. The Baby Animals Festival at Hancock Shaker Village runs from April 12th to May 4th this year. Our field reporter Alex Conklin is there with more.
I interviewed a person named Mike who was with his grandson visiting the Hancock Shaker Village, and I asked how his day was going.
It was such a fun day. My grandson absolutely loved it, especially the baby goats and lambs. He was running around all excited, petting them, asking a million questions like, can we take one home? He was just so into it. It kind of took me back to when I was a kid, visiting here at my parents'. There's something about this place that feels peaceful, simple, you know? Just being able to share that with him meant a lot. We stayed longer than just being able to share that with him meant a lot. We stayed way longer than I thought we would. He didn't want to leave. We even grabbed some lunch after, and he kept talking about how soft the animals were and how he wants to come back next weekend. It's not every day you get to slow down and enjoy something that pure together. Honestly, it was one of the best days we've had in a while. Just seeing him so happy, I think I needed it just as much as he did.
Reporting from Hancock Shaker Village, back to the studio.
Construction has been underway at 112 Robbins Avenue in Pittsfield, where 2 families will become first-time homeowners this summer. Central Berkshire Habitat for Humanity has opened applications for 3- and 4-bedroom condos in Pittsfield. To qualify, families must have a household income between 55% and 65% of the area's median income. Similar homes in Pittsfield are valued between $225,000 and $250,000, making home ownership challenging for many, especially as rental prices rise. No application deadline has been set, but Erin O'Brien, Communications Director at Central Berkshire's Habitat for Humanity, encourages interested individuals to apply soon to begin the eligibility process. For more information, visit berkshirehabitat.org/ownahome/how-to-apply. Following the arrests of 10 undocumented individuals in Berkshire County this spring, I spoke with student reporter Mariposa Ribon, who has been covering immigration in the Berkshires. Here's that interview for you now.
We're here with Mariposa, who is an MCLA student who's been researching immigration here in the Berkshires. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit more?
Yeah, so I'm a student journalist and a sophomore at MCLA. I've recently taken on an article involving immigration under Trump's presidency, and it has a connection with the arrests that were made in Berkshire County recently.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what happened during those arrests?
Yeah, so about 10 undocumented immigrants were detained in towns Pittsfield and Lenox. Most of them had work permits. So a working permit is when you have legal status, you're able to get a job in the United States, and you're sort of able to rely on having that work permit to stay here.
What else do you think is important for people to hear about this?
It's super important that people know their rights. I know I had spoken to President Burge, and he had said that there was a Know Your Rights program at MCLA. I think it's super important that people are educated on what's happening right now because of how quickly all the executive orders are coming out and the laws are shifting.
Earlier this semester, BWN spoke with President Burge. He walked us through what ICE agents have the power to do if they were to come to MCLA.
There are some restrictions for ICE on a college campus. So, for example, they cannot be assisted or supported by local law enforcement, either here on campus or in the city. The local law enforcement has no authority to do that work. And so we've reminded our campus police staff that there is no authority for them to assist. That means they wouldn't help locate a student, they wouldn't unlock doors, things like that. It's also the case that ICE officials cannot enter a classroom that's in session. They can't enter into a student's residence area, a room or a townhouse or a suite, and they can't go into private property. And so we happen to have a number of private properties on the campus. This building, for example, is owned by the MCLA Foundation, which is a private foundation, so they wouldn't be able to have public access to this facility or some of the others.
Being a student here at MCLA, are you seeing this affect our community at all?
I haven't seen or heard of it currently affecting students, but it probably does behind the scenes. It might affect their schooling if they are an undocumented person or if they have connections to an undocumented person. I'm sure it affects their mental well-being. I do know that we've gotten a lot of emails on what we would do or what the school would do if we came across ICE or if ICE were to come here.
Those email communications are coming from President Burge's Campus Communications Committee, an advisory board formed earlier this year, dedicated to interpreting news from Washington for the MCLA community.
We're trying to have a regular cadence of communication, not so that it doesn't necessarily, seeing one of these communications doesn't create some more chaos or concern, but in fact provides some insight into where we think the communication was coming from, how much of that is accurate or clear, and what, if at all, how it might affect the institution.
So far, those emails have only been precautions.
So far, we haven't seen another presence of ICE in Berkshire County after those arrests, at least that has been documented or talked about. There's just a lot of confusion. No one really knows what's going to happen. I had spoken with an undocumented immigrant who wishes to go by AJ for his own privacy. He had come from Colombia. He was escaping what he said was an uprising among violence and drug trafficking, and there was a lot of governmental and paramilitary clashes. So there was a lot of violence. He had told me that he just needed to get out of Colombia, and so he came here on a visa, but it had expired after a year, and for 22 years after, he had been of not legal status. He said he had no intention of coming here as an undocumented immigrant, but he needed to for his safety. So I think that that's the case for a lot of undocumented immigrants. They also are leaving their families behind. It's a very hard choice for them to make. We are kind of a nation full of immigrants. I think that a lot of the country is run on the backs of immigrants.
We wanted people on campus to know we weren't going to assist ICE in any way. We won't provide, whether it's campus police or anybody else, we won't provide protected student information. And so we'll be passive resistors of any attempt to from ICE to be on campus.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Conflicts between the Trump administration and the state of Massachusetts over diversity, equity, and inclusion programs could jeopardize up to 10.8% of Pittsfield Public School District's projected $87 million budget. The district anticipates receiving $9.4 million in federal education funding, which is expected to support approximately 48 full-time equivalent positions. This funding is crucial for programs aiding economically disadvantaged students, special education, and summer programming. Assistant Superintendent Kristen Benka noted that the federal funding situation remains uncertain, and others warn that losing this funding would create significant financial challenges for the district. April 10th through the 13th, MCLA's Fine and Performing Arts Department put on the show The Little Prince with multiple outstanding performances. Field reporter Kaya Muso takes us behind the scenes.
I'm reporter Kai Muso, attending MCLA's spring production, The Little Prince, directed by Jeremy Winchester in Venable Theater. From April 10th through April 13th, MCLA's theater department has worked on getting this production ready for showtime. I asked some of the actors the following questions about what their experience was during this production and the behind the scenes, as well as what some of their favorite parts were in doing this whole project.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Rachel Lamar. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm a senior. I double major in theater and arts management, and I played the Little Prince.
Hello, I am Ethan Wood, and I play the role of Lamplighter in the MCLA's production of The Little Prince.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Cheney. I play the aviator in The Little Prince.
I feel like it's different for every show that I do. I've been fortunate enough to do at least one every semester here. We came into this knowing that it would be a theater for young audiences production, so having that in mind, it's a little different than doing something like Shakespeare or something for the college age level.
Yeah, so I am very new to MCLA theater. I've never done anything like this before and since like middle school, so it was definitely a new experience that I am glad that I was able to partake in. It was really fun to get to know everybody. It was really fun to experience all of the things that these actors experience. It's a little stressful, but we live and we learn. Yeah.
It was a magnificent process. The whole process was just amazing. The cast was great. Our director was great. Our stage manager. It was a very comfortable process where everyone was just able to be an artist and explore their their natural beauty of art, you know? It was great. Like I said, just being your true self, doing what you want to do, no matter on what the grown-ups say, you know, what society expects from you, just doing what you want to do and exploring your true self.
And it's just, I don't know, there's so many like beautiful life lessons in this show, and it's my last show with MCLA, sadly, since I'll be graduating in a month. And it just feels like such a high note to go out on. I really feel like I just get to put my heart on the stage and just kind of really fully step into the role. And it's not just me acting as the Little Prince, it's also a little bit of me up there. So it's been such an awesome show.
Pope Francis, the first Jesuit and Latin American pope, died peacefully in Rome on April 21st at the age of 88. Serving since 2013, he was known for his focus on reform and global outreach, and his passing has initiated a period of mourning within the Catholic Church. Tributes have poured in from world leaders and Catholic communities in response to the news of his death. Pope Francis was a prominent advocate for addressing social issues within the Church, emphasizing compassion and inclusivity throughout his papacy. As preparations for his funeral and for the selection of a new pope begin, his legacy is marked by efforts to reform the Church and engage with diverse communities globally. The highly anticipated Minecraft movie, featuring a star-studded cast including Jack Black and Jason Momoa, released earlier this month to both positive and negative reactions from viewers. Here's our very own film critic, Kyle Manzolini, with more.
Greetings, I am Kyle Manzolini, and recently I saw a Minecraft movie. Now let's be clear, the movie from a story standpoint is not good. It has a difficult time finding a main character to follow, and for a movie that emphasizes and encourages creativity and imagination, it doesn't really have any of that. However, that does not really matter, because even with its problems, I had a good enough time with it. It is very entertaining, with Jack Black and Jason Momoa going over the top. They're just being silly and having a blast of a time making the movie. Visually, I feel they did a great job of recreating the world of Minecraft. It's very vibrant and colorful. It can be a bit jarring once the human characters enter the world, but I got used to it after a while. Overall, if you just want to turn your brain off and have a fun time, go see it. But if you aren't into Minecraft and just want a good story, there are better options out there. I am Kyle Manzolini. Back to the studio.
MCLA men's lacrosse netted their first North Atlantic Conference and home turf win of the season on April 19th against the SUNY Cobleskill Fighting Tigers. It was a well-matched game, with the Trailblazers pulling off an 11-9 point victory to keep their postseason hopes alive. Sophomore attacker Neil Brierly and freshman goalkeeper Quentin Polkowski have been named as the men's lacrosse player and defensive player of the week, as announced on Monday by the league. Brierly scored 5 of the Trailblazers' 11 goals, while Polkowski made 28 saves on 37 shots on goal. Junior attacker Anthony Andalina, sophomore midfielder Ty Roadcap, and junior midfielder Josh Hemstock added the other 6 goals to clinch their victory. The Trailblazers will be back in action this Saturday at 12 p.m. when they host league rival Husson University in both teams' regular season finale to decide the final spot in the 2025 North Atlantic Conference Playoff Tournament. As the year draws to an end, our seniors are preparing to graduate and embark on new ventures. On behalf of all of us here at BWN, assistant producer Tony Basil extends our best wishes as they take their next steps.
As we approach the end of the year, it's time to say goodbye to both our seniors and those of us who aren't coming back next year. A group that has shaped our production team and our newspaper in ways both big and small. Over the past few years, they've not only grown academically, but they've built friendships, faced challenges, and made memories that will stay with them long after they leave. It's hard to put into words what it means to watch them go, knowing that the future holds so much promise, but also that we'll miss them dearly. To Anna Najimi, our Beacon web editor, and Fallon Maloney, our Beacon managing editor. You both have put so much time and effort into editing our stories and helping us grow as writers. You both always have a smile on your face, ready to talk about what stories we are hashing out that day, or to even just be a friendly face. To Ainsley Lafko, Beacon Editor-in-Chief. You have grown so much over the past year, stepping up into the role of Editor-in-Chief when we knew it was going to be tough. You are always ready to try anything and have excelled in your position. You always have kind words for anyone, whether it be in the Beacon room or on campus. Even though we have you for one more semester, our lovely December graduate, we hope you have the most joyful last semester of your undergrad experience. To Alex Conklin, our BWN field reporter, we appreciate all the hard work that you have put in these past 2 years, from being able to pull a package together last minute or accepting to do interviews from North Adams to Pittsfield. We thank you for stepping up. And to Kate Zelkowitz, our Beacon copy editor, BWN executive producer, and host to her own weekly radio show, The Magpie, on WJJW. In this past year, you were thrown into every MCLA student media there was, but you took it all in stride, while easily sliding into place working on the Beacon's executive board as vice president and copy editor. You've shown extreme growth. Whether it be always having time to look over a story we might not feel confident about, or staying late to hash out the layout of the paper, you never once gave up on us as writers. In your capacity with BWN, you had a whole entire TV studio thrown at you, and let's not mention the team of 4 that came with it, but still managed to pull together full and amazing segments. For all of you watching, some of Kate's outstanding stories this year have been revolving around MCLA's declining enrollment, along with our up-and-coming new arts center, highlighting our winning sports teams, the instability within Massachusetts public schools' budgets, and issues regarding Berkshire immigration and customs enforcement. Even only knowing Kate for 1 year, we have seen her grow not only academically, but in confidence, resilience, and talent. I, for one, am going to miss tuning into the Magpie every week and late-night editing sessions. Kate, we hope you know how proud of you we all are and wish you the best at your next institution. There is no one else we'd rather work with. So, we wish all of you the best of luck after graduation and in moving on to your next academic steps. Thank you for everything. This year was unforgettable. This was Turner Marie Basil with BWN.
As I mentioned at the top of the program, this is our final episode of BWN for the year. Though I sit at the desk alone, there is an entire team of people who make this show possible. And I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge everyone who has given their blood, sweat, and tears to BWN this year. BWN is an extension of MCLA's student newspaper, The Beacon, this year headed by Editors-in-Chief Owen Brown in the fall and Ainsley Lafko in the spring. Serving on our production staff were Anthony Andolina, Kai Amuso, Adam Brunner, Alex Conklin, and Kyle Manzolini. Our assistant producer is Tony Marie Basil, and our faculty advisor is Professor Darren Johnson. BWN, of course, wouldn't be the institution it is without the mentorship and advocacy of our director, Peter Gentile. While the show may return, I will not. This is my final episode of BWN. It has been my honor and my pleasure to serve as BWN's executive producer and anchor since September, and I am extremely grateful for what we have achieved in the months since. To our production team, thank you for the time and care you gave BWN this year. I hope you are as proud as I am. Here's to a break, because you deserve it. To our viewers, thank you for the support you have given us this and every year. It is truly appreciated, and it never goes unnoticed. That's all we have for you today. Have a great day and an even better summer. On behalf of the entire BWN team, thanks for joining us this year. I'm executive producer Kate Zelkowitz, signing off. Good night.